On YouTube, you just got to scroll down and type something. Give me a thumbs up, or shoot me an emoji. Share some love. Just let me know you can see me and hear me. And I am so grateful that we're able to do this today, because last Monday was beyond frustrating and I definitely missed you. So I want to officially greet you and welcome you to SEM Mondays, my weekly live show here on YouTube. It's all about source energy medicine. It's all about self-healing. It's all about empowering you and helping you to get the answers to your questions, right? This SEM Mondays I created primarily to help those who are very new to source energy medicine, and yet we have folks show up every week who have been around our community for a long, long time. And we continue with this expanded format, which includes a group energy healing session. It's very empowering. It's very unconditionally loving is the way I always experience it. And the intention there is to support you as COVID continues. And, it's not just COVID. We have higher levels of stress that humans have endured probably ever in human history. And I think if you're here watching this, you understand the connection between stress and chronic dis-ease, chronic illness. Then it could lead to acute things, but more often than not, it's certainly a large contributing factor to pretty much every chronic illness that you could imagine. So, those who are here with me live, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and type something into the chat. Namaskar, Sadavjeet. Awesome to have you there. Our friend Sadavjeet, who is dear friend up in Toronto. And Barbara Ann saying, good afternoon, Stephen. Welcome, Barbara Ann. Awesome to have you here with us. So, I think it's kind of interesting in that, Father's Day is an odd day for me. I don't have children, so I'm not a father. My father died a long time ago, right? Mid-90s or so. And it's an odd day, and I like to celebrate my friends' lives who are fathers. So yesterday, Father's Day, and I think it's an international thing. I think it's not just a U.S. thing, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure Hallmark globally celebrates this. And, so yesterday I did a couple of different meditations in which, like a lot of the people who are dearest to me, who I just hold so close to my heart, like I've never met. Like Sadavjeet is actually a dear friend, and never had the opportunity to meet her father. Don't even know much of anything about her father. I don't think we ever talked about her father. And yet yesterday, she was one of the people who was very in the forefront of my mind. And I did a really lovely meditation where I connected with all of those folks who are near and dear to me. And I really thank their fathers, right? I bless their fathers. One of the amazing things within the non-material aspect of source energy medicine, which is the energy healing, it's what we call the energy healing component, is that, energetic tests, I knew this, I knew this on a soul level, an intuitive level, a gut level, if you will, since the beginning of exploring this energy work. And I believe this also applies to our charging labels. When I heal myself, I heal intergenerationally, right? So both my parents died a long time ago, and yet the work that I continue to do healing myself, they benefit from in some ways. And I know that might be a stretch of the imagination. And if you really think about it, Einstein theorized that linear time is an illusion of consciousness, and all time is happening somehow simultaneously. And within this energy work, we really take that and exploit it in the best way possible, in that we take advantage of all time happening simultaneously. So Native American people believe that healing happens 7 generations in both directions. And I think this extends beyond our biological families, right? So when I heal, that spills over into my soul family, and it spills over into folks I never even met before yet, because I don't think there are many physicists on this planet today who would disagree that we are all of the same energy, right? We are all connected. How we are connected, there's some interesting theories yet to be proven scientifically, but there's enough that has been proven scientifically that shows that we are indeed all entangled. And even when we're non-local, right, two terms that physicists use to when they do experiments and they separate particles from the same piece of matter, both, even though they're isolated and great distances apart, there's a similar response in both, and it's called an evoked potential. And there have been experiments with humans doing this as well. And it's fascinating material to explore, but we are all entangled. Whether we've had a human interaction or even in an email or a text or a phone call or been on the same webinar or even online at the same time, it doesn't matter, right? We're here at the same time. And I believe through the 0-point field, we are all connected. Part of the challenge is my ego wants me to buy into the illusion, the lie that I'm different and separate and special and unique, and we're not one. And I think that's the root cause of a lot of the challenges that we see, especially today. We see a lot of people who are, hoarding, buying every roll of paper towel on the supermarket shelf. Not so much anymore, but not too long ago it was kind of intense, and I know that if we're going to survive as a species, we have to get beyond that egoic-based mentality, which is very fear-based, and it's very greed-based, and we have to all start to love each other, cooperate, play, share openly and freely, and help each other. So, it's interesting to think about. So as I think how we help each other the most is when I heal my minds. And when I say my minds, I'm talking about my conscious mind, my unconscious mind, and my subconscious mind. And without question, the subconscious mind is the way that I can have the strongest positive impact in the world. Same is true for you. We each have that unlimited potential and possibility to really affect positive change just by our being as we transform our subconscious mind. And that is, of course, if you're totally new to source energy medicine, yes, we absolutely do work on challenges of it, really any nature. A lot of people are drawn to source energy medicine because of a physical challenge, but the challenges can be in any aspect of life, whether it's a financial challenge or a relationship challenge or what would be characterized as mental or emotional. It's all the same. And as I transform my subconscious mind, which is one of the three main causes of all dis-ease, all imbalance, all illness, or any challenge, any area of lack, there's no question about it. If I had to put those three in order, I would say it's the number one, because without that, the other two they're helpful, but they're so limited, so limited. So, and if you are indeed totally new to source energy medicine, as you continue, hopefully you know about the Source Energy Medicine Quick Start Guide. It's where everybody starts. There's a bit of information in there about all of this, and included in the Quick Start Guide is an electronic copy of my book, Heal Thyself, and I go into that in very good depth. And then, of course, our online workshops are where we explore this intimately and really get to master source energy medicine technology so that we can, and so that we have mastery of the root causes of all dis-ease, all imbalance, all illness, all areas of lack, any kind of challenge that you could ever experience. So, mastering source energy medicine not only enables me to be able to take maximum advantage of source energy medicine, but I think even bigger than that is it gives me great peace of mind. It gives me, gosh, excuse me. I am, I don't know if I inhaled something flying, but temporarily there. Had a little difficulty speaking, something in my throat, so I apologize for that. So, and certainly, with that empowerment, right? I think, for me, right from our free course in Source Energy Medicine, the Quick Start Guide, to me, that is so freeing, so empowering in that everything that you'll ever need for your entire journey with Source Energy Medicine is in there, right? And by that I mean, the Source Energy Medicine charging label technology. You can download it, and you can make and take Source Energy Medicines in your own home. And there's videos that explain it all and show you exactly how to do it. And there's, I think, 16 different modules in all. And it definitely goes beyond the very, very basics. And then that empowerment continues. It spills over into, we have 2 amazing master classes. And I say they're amazing because of the feedback that I've received. And we just wrapped up the second master class, which is still new and fresh and so exciting. It's all about really deep and profound healing within our emotional body and within our soul body. And this is work that not that long ago we could not get to, right? We couldn't access it, and it opened up this new paradigm of exploration opened up, I believe, because of the number of people who are transforming, balancing, and restoring. Here too, I would venture to say, to a large degree, it's the result of the subconscious mind of kind of a critical mass of people reaching that, which then spills over to greater potential and possibility than existed before. So, bless you for being, a bold forerunner. Kind of crazy to think that I've been talking about Source Energy Medicine since 2005. And yet, we each come to this work at our own time and in our own way, and self-healing is such a unique personal experience. So, one other thing I want to continue on with the conversation about Father's Day is that during our group energy healing session, I'm going to hold that same intention. So I did this one meditation yesterday and spilled over into 3 meditations. And I just kept thinking of people, and then I thought, like, gosh, I mean, a small handful of people I know their father. I've had the sincere pleasure and honor of meeting their father, and some of my closest friends' fathers have had a massive impact, positive impact on my life. It's really I've been very, very blessed by knowing and being able to see, right, to be witness to men of integrity, men of their word, men of honor, and in a real way, right? Not in this fake, phony facade way, but in a real way. And I've also had the opportunity to see less than ideal characteristics in an awful lot of men, and to me it's Esther and Jerry Hicks, who impart the teachings of Abraham. Abraham always talks about life being all about the contrast, right? It's these contrasting experiences between a man of integrity and a man with no integrity, right? A man of honor and a man of no honor. And then having the experience of both, and then having the free will to be able to choose the man I choose to be, choose the man that I choose to show up as, right? And often, at least for me, it is like a man that I am becoming, right? Because I'm not that, or I'm not that 100% of the time, right? But I'm some of it, and I know I can. So it is continuing to stretch and to grow into and to lean into, and then to have a lot of integrity and a lot of truth and a lot of impeccability with my word. So, I talk about all of that because that's a big part of healing, right? I mean, I have had some what I would characterize, and what most therapists would characterize as some serious wounding, emotional wounding, as a result of relationships with men. And it has years and years and years of exploring that work. And Source Energy Medicine, while self-healing on the subconscious realm is a big part of what I would contribute to the reason why I have not had any signs or symptoms, really any difficulties, any challenges since 2005. There's also work on the conscious and unconscious, right? So some of that emotional wounding absolutely took working with skilled facilitators and doing forgiveness work and doing different things to sort through all of that. So, I think one of the huge blessings from this soul master class that we just concluded is the ability to be able to heal on a soul level from that kind of deeper and very serious, very damaging wounds. And I know when I look at the state of the world that we live in, a lot of the atrocities we see are because of deeply wounded people acting from, having a deeply wounded emotional body, a deeply wounded soul body, and then those parts become disowned. And when they come out in shadow-like behavior, people get hurt, right? And sometimes it's emotional wounding, sometimes it's physically wounding. More often than not, it's both. And sometimes it's just on a one-on-one, and sometimes it's just within a family unit, and sometimes it's within a, international wounding that occurs. So, I hope that all makes sense, and interesting stuff to think about. But for me, in an ideal world, we should all explore healing on the subconscious level, conscious level, and unconscious level. And they're out. Source energy medicine absolutely spills over into the unconscious. But the conscious, realm, to a large degree, is governed by our free will, and for some people, there's missing pieces in one of those three areas, right? For me, it was the subconscious. I'd done a ton of work on the unconscious and conscious, and just not able to access the subconscious mind in a way that was deep and powerful enough to be able to transcend the physical challenges that I was experiencing. So, yeah, I'm just gonna check the chat here real quick and see if there are any questions before we go ahead and segue into the group energy healing. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Gu Ming asks, do I think mental health is as important or equal to physical health? Yeah, gosh, it's a really, really, really great question. I look at myself, so I think in an ideal world, it's really, really, really important to have every aspect of my being to be at optimum levels, right? That to me is what true vitality is. And what I mean by every aspect of our being, I'm talking absolutely about the physical aspect, absolutely about the mental or emotional aspect, which I see as separate and different. Certainly every aspect of my minds, right? So subconscious, conscious, unconscious, but also relationships and finances and creativity and recreation. Have it all be. I don't think balance is something to strive for. I'm much more of a fan of harmony, right? Because when everything is in harmony, it all works. And not everything might be, if you look at a lot of life coaches like to use a wheel of life, and they'll use like 10 as the goal to have every aspect. And then they say it's in balance. And, if you were to achieve that 10s in every aspect, it's going to be temporary. And, you could have an aspect at 7 and another at 8, and you could have one at 11 or 12. And yet it can all work harmoniously, right? So I think far, 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 far too often we try and compartmentalize these different aspects of our being, and you can't, right? You can't. So what shows up in my relationships is a reflection of the others, right? What shows up in my finances is a reflection of a combination of the others. And if you have any aspect of your being that is, say, a lower than a 7, if 10 is an ideal level, then it absolutely is going to be really difficult to have a harmonious life, because that's way out of balance, right? It's like having one piece, one integral piece, just not in harmony with the rest of it. So I hope that makes sense. And I think it's important to recognize that back in 2004, like my career, my professional career for like 7 or 8 years before that was all related to physical health and well-being, dis-ease, and, just going, more and more and more granular into dis-ease and pathology and, looking at pathogens and things. And now I have a much more broad perspective and a much more holistic perspective in that, I would not say that, I have true vitality if I had serious imbalance or deficiency in any aspect of my life. So I hope that answers your question. And source energy medicine helps to transform, imbalance, and restore everything, because the root challenges are the same, and the root challenges spill over into every other aspect. So it doesn't mean that this is a very passive process, so that, once I transform, balance, and restore every aspect of my being, then I don't have to work at relationships. And yet relationships do tend to become more filled with grace and ease, right? Less resistance and less wounding to trigger me, that often creates the difficulty in relationships, right? Or sabotage in finances, or sabotage with food, right? Stuff like that. So I hope that's helpful. The group energy healing session is I continue to offer this when I'm here on Mondays, which is most weeks. And we have technological things that are way beyond our ability to control sometimes. But, God willing, I'm here every Monday, and this expanded format will probably continue for quite a while, because, I really, really, really don't think that the vaccine is the answer to COVID, because we as humans created, regardless of the story that you follow, the whether it's true news, fake news, really hard to discern these days, but we as humans created this pandemic, and it's not going to be the last one that we experience. And I am not a pessimist by any means. I think that's much more of just being a realist, understanding enough of how this pandemic came about, and knowing that this vaccine is absolutely not the answer, and all of the things that we did to try and stop the pandemic, we can't do again and survive, right? At least economically, socially, politically, it's going to create collapse. And the likelihood of the next pandemic being worse than the last one is very, very strong. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but that's not likely the first time that you're hearing any of this. And that's one of the reasons why I am so grateful to Source Energy Medicine. And it's ultimately the reason why I created the Source Energy Medicine Emergency Preparedness Masterclass, so that you could have peace of mind. Whether you buy into the notion that another pandemic is just a matter of time, pandemics aren't the only thing that we have to be concerned about these days in terms of things that are creating challenge to our health and well-being that we didn't even have 20, 25 years ago. So many things that are attributed to. I remember back in the 90s when I practiced nutrition in New York City, GMOs were just, coming into public awareness. And, I'd always tell my clients, the sad thing is it's going to take us 25 years to find out the negative side effects, the negative ramifications of genetically modified farming and produce. And now we're finding out, right? And if you follow Dr. Zach Bush, within our Fundamentals of Source Energy Medicine community, I sent an email yesterday afternoon. There was an interview from a docuseries that I was following, and the docuseries was in a free screening window. It had ended, and they reopened it over the weekend, and I didn't find out about it until yesterday. But there was an interview with a friend of mine, Dr. Patrick Gentempo. He's partnered with Jeff Hayes, and Jeff Hayes, and I'm friends with him. I study with Jeff Hayes. And so Patrick interviewed Dr. Zach Bush, and Dr. Zach Bush lays out a pathway that if we don't make radical changes, the human species is going to be very, very, very seriously in danger of extinction in not too many years. 2050 is what all of the lab tests in rats and mice are playing out to be. 3 generations is essentially what it's going to take to get there, and that's what it is, mathematically speaking. And yet, within source energy medicine, there's an awful lot of things that we can do. Glycophages are the main thing that are the problem, right? They're not only contributing to chronic dis-ease and illness, but will lead to infertility if we don't do something radically about that, and that's going to be the demise of the human species. And not just the human species, like life on Earth as we know it, right? And it's all because of what we've done to our soil, which influences our air and, pollutes our air and it pollutes our water. So, I think there's huge hope, and yet we have to take massive action. We have to be bold enough and strong enough and brave enough to not just say, you know what, what's going to happen is going to happen, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I think that's that kind of denial, I don't think is going to be helpful for anyone. And certainly staying up on what's happening and learning, like the folks in our community who are non-material source energy medicine practitioners, to me, are the most empowered, because there are things with this energy work that we can do that we can't do with the charging labels. And I don't even know, outside of source energy medicine, any other way that we could possibly come close to exploring these things. So that interview is really, really unsettling. And yet, I made a list of 4 or 5 things to explore within the non-material aspect of source energy medicine that I think holds tremendous hope and potential and possibility. And within it all, the thing that gives me the greatest amount of comfort is with source energy medicine, the worst thing that happens is nothing, right? And the best thing that can happen would be what I would describe as miraculous. So I hope that makes sense. And, pre-COVID, I did a lot of complaining about, about 3 years ago, I transitioned from doing live workshops, live events, live retreats to doing everything online. And it was the complaining was because of the learning curve, right? It was way, 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 way more than I thought I was getting into. And now, there would be no source energy medicine in terms of an active. I wouldn't be standing here if we didn't make that transition. If I didn't make that transition when I did, because COVID would have been the end of it. It was still difficult, and yet, it's such a blessing, such a gift, and SEM Mondays is expansion of that. Because the folks who are in our online workshops, we have regularly scheduled open office hours and much smaller groups, and there's much more one-on-one interaction. But I created SEM Mondays as a way for folks who are not in our workshops to be able to have some support, have access to me, give me the opportunity to be able to answer your questions in a reasonable amount of time. So, I hope that makes all good sense. And if you're not familiar with the non-material aspect of source energy medicine, this energy work we're about to experience, right? You'll be invited to experience this. If you're not familiar with it, when we're done here you could just put into the search bar on YouTube or search bar in Google or whatever search you use, source energy medicine and energy work, or source energy medicine and non-material aspect. And there's a video on our YouTube channel where you can check that out. Within the Quick Start Guide, the free course in source energy medicine, there's the same clip is there, so you can learn all about that. And while I certainly can't do everything within a group session that I do when I work one-on-one with a client, I can focus on the things that are most important to your health and well-being in terms of related to COVID, or really anything like that, right? Any acute kind of condition. So on your end, it's important for you to know a couple of things. Number one, you are always healing yourself. And that's true way beyond source energy medicine, but I think it's really important to point out here because it might look like I am in the role of I don't ever use the term quote unquote healer, and even, facilitator isn't really accurate. I mean, I certainly am leading the process, but it's really helping you to remember, and it is absolutely helping you to be able to heal yourself, right? It's supporting you to be able to heal yourself. So I think that's very, very empowering to know that, all of the challenges that I had prior to source energy medicine, I was responsible for to a degree, right? There were certainly things that were genetic, and there were certainly things that were lifestyle, and there were certainly things that seemed to be, hard to put a pin on what it was. And yet, all of that is human created, right? All of that is human made, man made. And I think that's part of the problems that we see. It's certainly a major part of the problem that I experienced, and it is this seeing my acting from a mortal place rather than acting from a divine place. So, the way that I heal myself, the way that you heal yourself, is by tapping into that divine energy, right? It's that divine source. It's that divine energy that is the source of all creation. That is always responsible for the healing, and that is within you, whether you recognize it, whether you feel it, whether you have an intimate connection with that or not, or you have no experience with it at all, and even that notion might seem foreign. More often than not, the work is to transform the resistance, right? That which is prohibiting me from being able to have an intimate and empowering experience connecting with that. So, but it is indeed that same energy, that digests my food. I don't have to think about digesting my food. It happens. It's that same energy that takes, some protoplasm, and 9 months later you have a baby, right? If that's not miraculous, then I don't know what is. And I think all too often, we rely on source energy to do that process. And then afterwards, we as humans say, okay, I got it from here. And, Wayne Dyer always told that story, and it just, stuck with me all of these years. And I think it's very, very precious. The more I recognize that, of myself, I really can do nothing significant. I certainly can do a lot that creates challenge, but it is really with the consciously working and playing knowingly with the source of all creation that all things are possible, right? Anything is possible. And that is one of the reasons why there is no difficulty when it comes to challenges, right? So I always encourage folks to pick one goal or one challenge per time that you experience a group energy healing session. And the reason why I say that is so that it's much easier to track than if there's a couple, right? If you choose to work on more than one thing at a time, it's very often very difficult to track. And if you can't track it, then you're gonna lose interest, right? Because you won't have the faith that it is unfolding for you, right? So on your end, a minimum of distractions. To me, it really creates a much more ideal environment for you to be able to heal yourself, right? So if wherever you're watching this live stream from, if that's not possible now, just come back at a time when you can carve out 10, 15 minutes and have just quiet, reflective relaxation time, and honor your self-healing, right? Honor your healing journey, honor your healing process, and just if you are able to, other than this live stream, just turn off all distractions, turn off your ringers and buzzers and notifications, and just allow yourself to heal. Even though you're healing yourself, there's really nothing for you to do other than to relax, allow, and to receive. Simply trust the process, and it will all unfold for you quickly, under grace, in divine and miraculous ways. So I turn my camera off so that what I'm doing is not distracting. There'll be some chanting going on in the background. YouTube, interface between my audio mixer, and it's so many technical parts, it's not funny, but often the chanting isn't there. There's nothing that we can do about that. It's between our broadcast and YouTube. So, and then once we're done, I'll prompt you to come out of it, and then I'll check the chat right before we come back for any last minute questions, and then we will wrap up for today. And God willing, see each other back here next Monday. So I invite you to get nice and comfortable and just begin to honor this healing process. Begin to eyes. And if your eyes are closed, please go ahead and slowly blink them open and come back to Here and Now and to SEM Mondays Live here on YouTube. One thing I did not mention is a lot of people in our community over the last, almost, what are we, a year and a half now, doing this, close to a year and a half now, have watched one of the replays and experienced the energy healing session once or twice a day as, part of their daily routine, right, their daily wellness plan. And I think there's huge benefit to doing it. And I think it's awesome to think that each time that you do that, you have the opportunity to pick a different goal or a different challenge and experience that. And, it's important to note that even though that's a really, really short amount of linear time, we're able to do an awful lot in such a short, condensed amount of time. In fact, when I work one-on-one with a client, a session is 30 minutes, and it's by phone. And, the actual work part, right, the actual session part, the non-talking part, is on average 15 to 20 minutes. And that's, for a full, complete session. So, what we're able to do here in a group setting is mind-boggling in a lot of ways to think about what we're able to accomplish in such a short period of linear time. So don't let the brevity of this lead to a perception of a discounted experience in some way, or of, can't be much good in there, because, my gosh, you'll be really selling yourself and selling your healing experience very, very, very short. So I have an appointment that I have to skedaddle for, and God willing, I'll be back here next Monday for another installment of SEM Mondays. Between now and then, stay connected in our various communities where hopefully you know how to connect with like-minded folks from around the world who are also exploring source energy medicine as part of their self-healing strategy, right? They're part of their health and wellness and vitality strategy. So, as always, my friends, I wish you continued blessings on your journey with source energy medicine. Bye for now.